Hi guys, welcome back. So today we're going to be talking about the on-range we keep here at Taunton Leisure. We're looking at a few of the different models we keep, going over a few of the specs and what they're good for, and then in another couple of videos we'll go into each of these in a little bit more detail in their own separate video. But for today we're going to look at the range, look at what we keep here at Taunton Leisure, and what makes each of these good for a very specific purpose. So let's get on with it. So the first bit of footwear we're going to look at from On is the Cloudrock. We do this in men's and women's, and they are both very, very similar. There's not much difference between the men's and the women's in terms of the look. A little bit difference on the fit. The women's is a little bit less volume, and it is maybe a smidge narrower, but not much really. The Cloudrock is a really lightweight, really fast walking boot, so it gives you a good amount of ankle support, certainly more than a shoe. But with a really comfortable, quite flexible sole, which is perfect for anyone looking for a really fast, light hiking shoe. This is sort of a theme within the On range, is that all of their footwear are nice and light. We'll put the weight just up here for you, which means they're going to be super comfy. They're not going to feel like you've got big planks on your feet, so not like your big stiff mountain boots. It's a good sort of thing to go along with. If you've already got a nice pair of mountain boots and you want something that's a little bit more comfortable, a little bit lighter, then this would be a really good companion for that boot. Perfect for day hikes or potentially multi-day hikes if you've got a lighter pack. You wouldn't necessarily want to be wearing this with a really heavy pack on for multiple days at a time, but certainly for sort of doing trails, coastal paths, that kind of thing, this would be a really good option for you. Like I said, it's really light, it's nice and comfy, and because of the cloud system on the bottom of these, which again is like we see on all of the On range, you're going to get a nice amount of cushioning and comfort, but you're also going to get good tread pattern. In terms of upgrades from the previous year, like I said, we're going to go into this in a bit more detail in another video, which will be dedicated just to this boot. We're seeing a slightly higher round across the top, so we're getting a nice big chunky rubber round across the toe here, which is going to give you a lot more protection. It's going to reduce the amount of scuffs and scrapes you're going to get. And then we've got a thinner rubber round that comes around the back here into the heel cup. A bit more cushioning around the top of the ankle here as well, which is really nice. Going to add to that comfort, and we've still got our cutaway at the back here, so that when we're going downhill, that doesn't rub against the back of our heel, which is nice. And then moving on, we've also got a slight change to the sole here as well. So on the older version, the clouds came all the way up, and we had clouds all the way down here as well. What they've done with this one is they've removed a few of those clouds and added a multi-directional tread instead. So you've still got all the benefits of the clouds at the back and towards the middle of the shoe, or the boot, sorry, which is going to be things like comfort and traction. But you've also got this multi-directional mission grip at the front here as well, which is going to give you a bit more security on undulating terrain or wet terrain where it's a little bit slippier, especially with wet mud and stuff when you're going uphill and you want a bit more leverage on your toes. This little bit of grip here is going to be an absolute game changer. So a really nice improvement we can see there from On. I think that's going to be liked by a lot of people, and I think it might even be something that people upgrade to if you already own the Cloudrock and you've got on with it really well, but you think, actually I'd like something a little bit better, then this would be a really good upgrade for you. Like I said, it's a really good all-round boot, really light. It's not going to keep up with your sort of super stiff boots for long distance trekking over really hard terrain, but for coastal paths and sort of day trekking and stuff, or people who are out sort of walking along the rivers and stuff and want something that's really light, really comfy, and feels a little bit like their day-to-day trainer, but waterproof, this is a really good option for you. Awesome, so we've had a little look at the boot, and now it's time to look at a shoe from On. And in front of me here we have the Cloudwander Waterproof. So this is a fully waterproof hiking shoe that borrows a lot of the attributes we've seen from the boot. So I will repeat myself a little bit here because a lot of these things we've already spoken about in the boot, but maybe we'll go into a bit more detail this time. So first, and I think most noticeable thing on these compared to some of the older On models, is this nice, tough, rubberized toe cap. And that does continue around as like a very thin rubber round around the corner as well. This is really important to keep this shoe nice and light and also keep it as breathable as it can, being a waterproof shoe. They use a mesh upper on this, as you can see. And sadly, the downside to a lightweight mesh upper is it's not the most durable finish to the shoe. So what they've done is they've added this nice, tough rubber round or rubber toe cap around the top here, which is really is quite thick rubber. And that's just going to take any of the bumps and scrapes and hopefully keep that upper going a little bit longer. I'm sure everyone here has kicked a stone or something or scraped the front of their shoe going up an ascent. So by adding that there, they're just giving a little bit of added protection, both to your feet, but also to the shoe itself, which is really nice. It's a really nice addition to some of the On shoes for this year. Fully waterproof shoe, so it actually has a lining on the underneath. And like I just mentioned, it's got a mesh upper, keeps it light and keeps it as breathable as it can be, even with a waterproof liner. Got a nice lacing system here that comes down relatively far down the toe. and it's met by two nice metal cleats at the top, which means they're nice and sturdy, nice and durable. You can get a really good amount of tension on there and make sure the shoe is fitting you really well. Moving down, we're obviously met with the classic Cloud system, which On is so well known for. This sort of gives the shoe the look we all know and love from On. These, I'm sure you know, give you comfort and traction at the same time. So each of these lugs gives you a good amount of traction, but also they act as your cushioning as well and your comfort. What they've done this year with some of their hiking orientated shoes and boots, as we've just spoke about, is added this front area here, which has been added to the Mission Grip system. And what this is going to give you is a little bit more traction and a little bit more leverage when you're using the sort of front of your foot. It's all good and well when you're using the entire surface of the shoe walking on flat terrain. It's nice and grippy, but when you go to do an incline where it might be muddy or slippery, having that little bit of extra traction, that little bit of extra tread on the front of the shoe is going to help a lot, especially if you imagine putting a lot of pressure through the front of your foot as you're climbing up a steep incline. The last thing you want to do is that to slip out and cause you an issue. So that's a really nice little addition this year, and I think potentially it might be the thing that makes people upgrade to the newer models. I think it's a big improvement on the on last year's sole, and I'll be interested to see what people think of it once they've purchased it. And then underneath our grip here, we've got our speed board, which runs through the shoe. And I should have mentioned that the boot does have that as well. And this is kind of like a rock board and a springboard, so it's going to protect you from any stones coming underneath the thing, so you don't feel every sort of bump and lump through the bottom of the shoe, but it's also going to give the shoe some rigidity, which is going to help carry you forward, give you a bit of spring in your step. And then right back here at the back of the shoe, we've also got a little loop, which just makes these shoes nice and easy to get on. So usage wise, like I said, it is a shoe in comparison to the boot. It can do a lot of what the boot can do, but it's not going to give you as much ankle support, and the waterproofing on it is not going to come up as high. So we're not talking about the rating of the waterproofing, we're talking about the actual height that the water can come up to. Obviously, without that ankle support, the waterproof lining ends here where the shoe does. So if you think you're going to be using this as like an all year round shoe, that's absolutely fine. It will handle that no problems, especially with your low level walking, your woodland walking, that kind of thing, fields and footpaths, absolutely fine. Just be cautious that if you're going somewhere where there is a lot of standing water, if you walk a local woodland track and you know that it's commonly got a decent sized deep puddle on it that you have to go through, then just be cautious about the sort of how high that comes up. And that obviously goes for any shoe, but when we've got the option to choose between a shoe and a boot, that might be a deciding factor for you. So yeah, the Cloudwander is a really awesome bit of kit. It's the perfect shoe maybe to complement a heavier pair of boots for summer use, or if you're looking for a bit of an all-rounder, you're not a big fan of wearing heavy clunky boots, or you don't feel you need the ankle support, then this could be the piece of footwear for you. Okay, and finally it's one for the women, because we're only carrying this shoe in the women's. Men have got a slightly different version, which we'll cover in a later video because it's not new to this year. We've had it for a few years now, so we'll give it its own video where we give you a little bit more specs and stuff. And this is the Cloud Waterproof. So what this is, and it's slightly different to what we've looked at in the previous video, or in the previous part of the video, sorry, and this is a waterproof trainer. So although you could do some walking and some hiking in this, it's not meant for sort of off-road conditions. What it is a really good commuting shoe, especially in the UK where you're walking to work and it's potentially very wet. This is a fully waterproof shoe, but it acts like a trainer. So it's nice and comfy, it's very flexible, it's got good padding and good cushioning across it. It's got a nice thin upper, so it's still gonna be relatively breathable. And it's nice and light as well. And it'll feel just like your running trainers that you're so used to. If you already wear a pair of On running trainers, you're looking for a sort of a nice trainer to wear to work, then this would be a really good option for you. I wouldn't be pushing this shoe overly hard. You might be able to get away with a little bit of coastal path walking, maybe some footpaths around your local area, but nothing too extreme. I'm not sure this would be quite up to your Dartmoor walking, but where it would really shine is for your commuting to work. If you're walking to work every morning and you want your feet to be nice and dry when you get there, then this would be a really good option for you. It comes with elasticated lacing on the top here, so it's nice and easy just to slide on and off. If that's not the kind of thing you're into, then it does come with a pair of laces in the box as well. And you've got some slightly lower lacing points here, which we'll show you a close-up of, which means you'll be able to lace it a little bit better. And potentially that might give you a better fit. For a lot of people, the elasticated laces will fit straight out of the box. It's nice and comfy, it's nice and quick, it's nice and easy to get on and off, especially if you're only using these to commute to work and you change into a slightly different piece of footwear when you get there. It makes it nice and easy to take on and off. So there's not too much to say about this. We're still getting our clouds on the bottom, which give us our grip and our comfort. But it's not necessarily designed as a hiking shoe, and a bit more of like a commuting, walking, potentially walking around the village, that kind of thing shoe. Still a really good option for people, and like I said, for commuting with dry feet, a really nice option. So that was a really quick look at the range that's coming to us from On this year. Really excited about some of the options we've got. We've seen some really good improvements as well, especially within the hiking range. We're going to see a lot of improvement in terms of grip, especially with that mission grip at the front of the shoe. And I think, to be honest, the design in general has really amped up. They're trying to make these shoes a little bit more durable, but still keeping them lightweight, which is what everyone loves about On. If you've got any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. And like always, it would be really good if you liked and subscribed. It really helps us out and helps us to continue making this content for you. And we'll catch you in a future video where we talk about the Cloud Ridge and the Cloudrock in a little bit more detail, talking about the materials and everything in that one.